Guys, in this next news story, 3 brothers from Stoke have been sentenced to lengthy prison terms following the cold-blooded execution of a young man described as a brutal and calculated attack that has left a family shattered and a community in mourning. Tayyab Hussain and Ezaan Hussain, both from the city of Stoke, pleaded guilty to the murder of 21-year-old Thapelo Jali. Their pleas were entered during a harrowing trial at Leicester Crown Court back in July. Their brother Tuheed Hussain was convicted of manslaughter after a jury found him guilty at the conclusion of the trial. The events that led to Thapelo's death unfolded over just 48 hours, marked by escalating tension, violence, and ultimately a fatal ambush. According to court proceedings, an initial altercation occurred on the 20th of July 2024 when a collision took place between 2 vehicles, one a Volkswagen T-Roc registered to Thapelo's girlfriend and the other a Honda Civic driven by Tuheed. This incident appeared to ignite an already simmering feud between Tuheed and Thapelo. The following day, the hostility intensified when Tuheed and Ezaan attacked the T-Roc, smashing its windows in what police later described as a deliberate act of provocation and retaliation. As darkness fell that Sunday, the situation took a deadly turn. Shortly before midnight, Thapelo made his way to the Normacot area, which is, he ended up into an alleyway, and CCTV captured him sprinting between Hamilton Road and Buccleuch Road. Just 4 seconds later, the same camera recorded 2 figures, Tayyab and Ezaan, emerging from a car driven by their brother Tuheed. With chilling purpose, they followed Thapelo into the alley. What happened next was a savage and frenzied attack. Trapped in the darkness of the passageway, Thapelo was confronted by the 2 brothers. Armed and intent on violence, they launched at him, repeatedly stabbing the 21-year-old in a ferocious assault. Within seconds, they had fled the scene, leaving Thapelo gravely wounded on the ground. CCTV later showed the brothers returning to the waiting car where Tuheed was still behind the wheel. The trio drove away together, vanishing into the night. Paramedics were called after a passerby discovered Thapelo in the alleyway just after 12:30 at night on the 22nd of July, and despite desperate efforts to save him, he was pronounced dead at the scene shortly after 1:10 in the morning. Post-mortem examination revealed that he'd been stabbed multiple times with injuries so severe that he stood no chance of survival. At sentencing, the court imposed heavy prison terms. Tayyab Hussain was sentenced to 21 years and 351 days, whilst his younger brother Ezaan received 20 years and 353 days. Tuheed Hussain was jailed for 11 years for his role in orchestrating and facilitating the ambush that led to Thapelo's death. The impact on Thapelo's family has been devastating. In a powerful and deeply emotional statement, his loved ones spoke of the lasting grief and trauma caused by his sudden violent death. They said, "We love and miss Thapelo, and his death has left an unmeasurable void on the lives of those who loved him so dearly." When the officers came to tell us Thapelo's death, their words shattered our world. That morning we had no idea that life as we knew it would change forever. The stark and brutal reality of his death consumed our family. As the days, weeks and months passed, the pain only deepened. One young life was taken in the most tragic and cruel set of circumstances, but that consequence rippled far beyond, and our lives and the lives of many others have been ruined forever. We hope that somehow our pain and our words can raise awareness and stop the epidemic of knife crime that has taken our son far too soon. Senior Investigating Officer Detective Superintendent Cheryl Hannon echoed the family's grief and said this was a brutal and calculated attack. It demonstrates once again the devastating consequences of carrying knives and allowing disputes between individuals or groups to spiral into violence. Our thoughts remain with Thapelo's family and friends who have shown incredible strength in the face of unimaginable loss. It's a real sad news story there coming in once again. I just want to say rest in peace to the victim. My condolences go out to your family. And in this next news story, a dad and son drove their van around the UK delivering huge shipments of coke to criminal gangs. Richard Hoyland is 45 and his dad Malcolm was said to have played a pivotal role in supplying vast quantities of Class A drugs worth millions of pounds. The pair would make regular trips across the country in their van to areas such as Merseyside to deliver bags of drugs. The pair also drove to the likes of Plymouth, Devon, Cornwall and Essex as part of their plot. Richard Hoyland was identified as a major supplier of Class A drugs before he was arrested in January this year. Officers later executed a warrant at the family address and officers recovered 83 kilos of coke with an estimated street value running into the millions of pounds inside the property. A further 13 kilos was found in Richard Hoyland's bedroom, alongside drug-related paraphernalia and a large machete hidden beneath a sofa. Surveillance on the Hoylands had gone back further, however. On November the 8th, 2024, Richard Hoyland was seen supplying a large blue bag to a known figure in another organised crime gang. That person was given 5 kilos of coke and drove off, but officers intercepted a vehicle en route to Hull and recovered the 5 kilos of coke. Further exchanges that evening linked Richard Hoyland to additional drug deliveries across the Midlands and Yorkshire. During the search of Richard's van at the time of his arrest, officers recovered a mobile phone which, along with other seized devices and handwritten notes, provided further evidence of his involvement in the supply chain. Two men appeared at Manchester Crown Court, where they were both handed immediate custodial sentences. Richard Hoyland was jailed for 10 years for conspiracy to supply Class A, and Malcolm Hoyland was jailed for 7 years and 3 months for conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. Detective Constable Ellie Cartwright at Greater Manchester Police's Serious Organised Crime Group said this was a sophisticated and highly organised criminal network responsible for flooding communities with harmful drugs. Richard Hoyland, along with his father Malcolm, played pivotal roles in supplying vast quantities of Class A drugs to gangs across the country. Their convictions are a significant result in our ongoing fight against serious and organised crime. So guys, there's a couple of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. We've got another one for you actually now as well. And a dealer has been jailed for 11 years after being snared by great police teamwork in Scarborough. Brian Hollywood was sentenced at York Crown Court, having previously pleaded guilty to 3 counts of possessing with intent to supply Class A drugs. Detectives from Scarborough were supported by the neighbourhood policing team, and they tracked Hollywood's criminal activity. He was arrested and subsequently charged with a range of drug-related offences to which he pleaded guilty. Initially, the drugs that were seized from Hollywood were believed to be Class C. However, when samples were taken, they were found to be Class A. This meant Hollywood was remanded in custody due to the seriousness of the suspected offences. Detective Inspector Amber Carey from Scarborough Police said drug dealers like Brian Hollywood bring nothing but anguish to our communities, the risk that drugs pose, and it just shows that Hollywood had no regard for potential devastation that he could cause. He said the tenacity to drive to secure justice by the officers in the case was supported by intel and neighbourhood policing team officers, and it demonstrates we can do all we can to clamp down on such offenders and take them off our streets. So as I said guys, there's a number of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.